Hello there, and welcome back to Mr. B's Trucking Institute, where we find solutions and not excuses. Now, some of y'all might be saying, is this the same guy in that previous video? It is me. I lost 60 pounds because I decided to find solutions, not excuses, and get that weight off. And at Mr. B's Trucking Institute, we don't only pre-trip and teach bagging and driving on tractor trailers, but truck trailers, buses. If it's a big vehicle, we deal with it. So today we're gonna deal with this bus. We're gonna do a pre-trip on this bus, as I say, and my people say from the country, from the rooter to the tutor. So let's get started at Mr. B's Trucking Institute. We're gonna do this bus and pre-tripping, all right? So we're gonna do a full exterior pre-trip. Then we're gonna do the passenger items inside, and we also are going to do an in-cab inspection, all right? So let's start with the exterior. Now, my clearance lights are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present, and they're amber in color. As I come down, I'm looking at my windshield to make sure it's not cracked, not damaged. I don't have anything on it that's impeding my view, all right? And I'm looking at this seal around my window, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. It's not dry rotted, it's not damaged, all right? And then I have my windshield wipers right here. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All the hardware is present, and I'm checking the condition of the wipers. It's good, all right? I got this mirror right here, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All the hardware is present, look good to me. As I come down here, I'm going to look at my lights, my low beam and my high beam lights, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. They look good. The reflectors on the inside is intact, not damaged, they're clean. I have my turn signal lights right here, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. They are amber in color, all right, and they're looking good. I got my bumper, it's properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. And this vehicle is not leaning to the left or the right that will indicate some kind of suspension issues on my vehicle. So what we're gonna do everything down the passenger side of this vehicle, all right? We're gonna go down the passenger side, we're gonna do that engine, and we're gonna do whatever is unique on the driver's side. All right, so let's continue. We just did the front view. Well, hi there, and welcome to the side of the bus, passenger side. Let's talk about it. Well, first of all, I'm checking all my windows, make sure my windows are properly mounted and secured, not cracked or broken. All the hardware is present. I see the seals around my windows. The windows are good. I'm also looking up here at these clearance lights, my lights up top. I have a light over here that's amber in color, not cracked, bent, or broken. All the hardware is present. Have a light back there. It's red, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All the hardware is present on that mirror. All right. So as we come down, I'm gonna work on all of my lights. My turn signal lights right here. They're amber in color, properly mounted and secured. All the hardware is present, amber in color. I'm just looking at all my lights. Amber in color, not cracked or damaged. Amber in color, not cracked or damaged. There's my turn signals, my indicator lights. All my reflectors, properly mounted and secured. I got my lights right here, amber in color, properly mounted and secure. All the hardware is present. I'm checking all my lights on the bus, all right? Because remember, you gotta have you a system. Now this is Mr. B's system. You can create your own system, but you gotta make sure you check everything. So I started off, I got my lights checked, my windows, all my lights amber in color. They're looking good, all right? So in the bus, we're gonna use this language right here. If I could see, because I can't see that braking system back there. Okay, I can't see the axle and everything's back there. So I'm gonna start off, my system is I work inside and out. And so I work back on the inside with the things I can't see, then I work myself out to the tire, okay? So we're gonna talk a little bit. Acronyms help. I'm gonna use the acronym BAS, all right? That's B-A-S, all right? And when we get back to that second axle, we're gonna add a T on the end. But right here, we're gonna deal with the B's first, then we're gonna deal with some A's and deal with some S's, bass. I used to bass fish when I was a kid down in the country. Let me get back to the subject. All right, so if I could see, we're gonna start off with that first B. My brake chamber is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. The clamp is securely clamped around my brake chamber. That brake chamber got air in it, so I'm gonna make sure I hear no leaks. That brake chamber has brake hoses onto it, so I'm gonna make sure my brake hoses are not damaged, cut, frayed, or dry rotted, and air run through it. So guess what? I'm gonna make sure I hear no leaks. All right. I got brake drums. My brake drums are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, free of oil, free of debris, not damaged. All the hardware is present. All right. Then I got brake pads, or they call them brake liners. My brake pads, brake liners are not are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. They free of oil and debris. And guess what? I got to make sure those brake pads are not dangerously worn thin. All right. So those are my B's. Now I'm gonna move to the A's. I'm gonna make sure that my air mount is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. And on those air mounts, we have airbags. I'm gonna make sure my airbags are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, not dry rotted, not damaged, okay? All the hardware is present. And those airbags, I'm gonna make sure I hear no leaks. That's an airbag. Now, what's another A back there? I got an axle. My axle is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. No holes, no damages, none of that stuff. It's looking good. So I just knocked out my B's and I knocked out my A's. Now let's get to some S's. Okay, on my S, I'm gonna make sure that my shocks are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All the hardware is present. And guess what? There's liquid in those shocks. So I'm gonna make sure I see no leaks with my shocks. Y'all feeling me? All right. So we got that brake chamber, we got the brake pads, brake drums, we got them axles, we got the air mounts, we got the airbags, and then we have our shocks. All right. So now that I've finished the things that I cannot see, let's deal with the things that I can see right here with this tire. First of all, with my tire, I'm gonna make sure that the condition is good. The tire is not cut, it's not damaged, no missing chunks. The condition is good on that tire, all right? And I'm gonna check the depth of my tire. The front tires on this bus can be no less than 432, all right? And they have to be, they cannot be recaps or re-grooves. We want virgin tires on the front of this bus because you don't wanna be running down the road and it take a chance of your front tires blowing out. So you have to make sure those front tires are always brand new virgin tires. Can't be recapped or re-grooved, no less than 432. So that's the depth of my tire. Now I'm gonna check the inflation to make sure my tire is properly inflated to the manufacturer's specifications, all right? And this is the valve stem. I'm gonna make sure my valve stem is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken right there. That's why I would check that air to make sure my air is at a proper level on this bus. All right, on this front tire, right. So we got the rim properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. I see no unauthorized welds. I'm looking at my lug nuts to make sure them lug nuts are properly mounted and secured. I see no running soot or shiny thread that would indicate looseness. All right, and then we got the hub seal properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. There's some liquid in that thing, so guess what? I see no leaks. All right, so now y'all see the system. I talk about systems a lot on Mr. B Trucking Institute. Make sure you write these down. You got that BAS. Make sure you talk about that brake chamber, brake pad. Make sure you talk about the brake drum. You got axle, air mounts, airbags, the S. You got them shocks, all right? And guess what I forgot? I'm glad I stepped back. See, that's why it's important to go over things, because guess what I forgot? If I could see, I'm gonna make sure that slack adjuster and push rod is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. And what I'll do with the brakes released on this bus, I will pull on that slack adjuster and make sure the push rod don't move more than an inch. Again, with the brakes on the bus secure, I'm gonna pull and chalk. I'm gonna pull on that slack adjuster and make sure that the push rod travels no more than an inch. That's why it's important to just go over things, because sometimes it's a lot you gotta learn. But when you get a system that helps you learn, because see, right now I was thinking BAS, brake chamber, brake pad, brake drum, my axle, my airbag. Then I said shock, and in my mind I was like, it gotta be another S. I forgot about my slack adjuster, okay? So you just saw a live example on Mr. B Trucking Institute how important it is to have systems, because when you have those systems, you can miss some stuff, and then guess what? When you got a right system, you can go back thinking through and you'll find it because you got a system. That's some good news right there, y'all. So let's continue with this. The side of this, passenger side of this bus. I'm just checking this door right here to make sure it's properly mounted and secured, not cracked down or broken. All hardware is present. My windows are good. The seals are all good on it. Now, guess what, y'all? I'm coming back here because sometimes you can forget things, all right? And when you forget something, you say, oh, I forgot it. And you can go right back. Because let's look up here. You know something I forgot up here? What's that right there? That's a mud flap. And I want to make sure my mud flap is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. I'm going to make sure all of it. Flap, everything. Splash guard. This is the splash guard. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. So, as we come back here, y'all, guess what? I'm gonna follow the same system back here that I followed up there, but it's just slightly different, and I'll tell you about the slight difference. Back here you have bass, but you put a T on the end, and we'll talk about what that T is just in a moment. So guess what? You gotta get used to repeating things over and over again, okay? So I'm gonna start off with my brake chamber back here on, this is my rear axle. That was my steering axle I just did up front, okay? And now I'm about to do the rear axle. So guess what? The rear axle has a brake chamber too. Properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. That clamp is securely around that brake chamber. And I hear no leaks. That brake chamber has hoses. Make sure those hoses are not dry rotted or damaged, and that I hear no leaks on the brake hoses back here. All right? As I continue with those B's, I'm gonna go to my brake drum. Properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, free of oil and debris. All right, my camera person like that. All right, now I got my brake pad. My brake pad, brake line is properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, free of oil and debris. And guess what? It's not dangerously worn thin on those brake lines or brake pads, whichever language you want to use, all right? So those are my B's. So now I'm gonna go to the A. My axle is properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, all right? Not dangerously damaged, no holes. All the hardware is there. I have air mounts, properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present, okay? If I could see them airbags, I'm gonna check them to make sure they're properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. And that brake airbag, I'm gonna make sure that I hear no leaks and it's not dry rotted or damaged because they're made out of rubber. All right, so what else? I got my B's, my A's, now I'm gonna go to them S's. Slack adjuster and push rod. Properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. My slack adjuster is good. With the brakes released, I will pull on my slack adjuster and make sure that the push rod travels no more than an inch. That other S is the shock. Make sure my shocks back here are properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. I see no leaks. All hardware is present on that shock. And this is the T back here, y'all. The T back here on the back, we got a torque rod. And that torque rod is properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. Now you just run that system through your head, all right? I did my B's. I did the brake chamber and clamp. I did them hoses. I did the brake pad and the brake drums. I did my axle, air mounts, airbags. I did my shocks. I did my slack adjuster, and I did the torque rod. That's the system, all right? So now we're gonna talk about these tires. Back here is a little different because you have dual tires, okay? So back here, I'm gonna make sure that there is nothing impeding or nothing inside of that bud spacing between those two tires. What we call them here at the Institute, we say no obstructions. Nothing that will be inside those, in between those tires that would not let them flow and turn freely. So I'm gonna check that, what we call bud spacing, all right? Now, let's talk about the condition on these tires. I'm gonna make sure that there's not damage, no missing chunks, all right? The condition of the tire is good. This is when it gets a little different back here on this axle from up there. Back here, you gotta make sure that these tires are no less than 232, and guess what? they can be recapped or regrooved. Those tires up front on the steering axle, they gotta be virgin. You don't have to have virgin tires back here, okay? These tires can be recapped, they can be regrooved, no less than 232, all right? Now, I'm gonna go to my inflation, all right? Make sure the inflations of the tires are to the manufacturer's specification. And I have back here my valve stem, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. The valve stem is not damaged, and I can use that valve stem, all right, to check the pressure on that tire to make sure my inflation is good, all right? So now we're gonna go to the rim, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. Not dangerously worn, thin, or I'm thinking about brakes, y'all. No unauthorized welds on the rim. When you get running with this stuff, take your time, don't rush. You make an error, just go back and correct it, all right? It's okay. We're not perfect at this institution. We find solutions, not excuses. So on that rim, I'm gonna just go back and say it again, properly mounted and secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. No unauthorized welds. And I have my lug nuts, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. There's no running rust or shiny thread that will indicate looseness. I have my axle seal back here, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. It's liquid in it, so I see no leaks. I have a splash guard back here, properly mounted and secured. All the hardware is present. And I have a mud flap, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. Now, when we're doing the pre-trip, you're repeating a lot of things, but you're repeating the same things. And I'm gonna keep repeating to you, get your system together. I can't say it enough. Get your systems together so you can get those B's, A's, S's, that T back here, and you go through your tire, and you're in the sunshine, all right? So we're gonna keep on right here on Mr. B's Trucking Institute. We've done the front of that bus, we've done the passenger side. Now we about to go have some fun with that engine. Come on, y'all. Well, welcome to the back of the bus. We started off in the front, we went down that passenger side, now we're about to do the back of this bus, all right? So we're gonna start up top with these red lights right here. These clearance lights, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All the hardware is present. Of course, as I've already said, they're red in color. We got these brake lights, tail lights back here, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. They're red in color, all hardware is present. All right. We got a student driver. All right, and what are these signals right here? All right, those are your turn signals. They're amber in color, properly mounted and secured. All hardware is present. We have these red lights right here that we use for brake lights. Tail lights, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. They're red in color, all hardware is present. These lights down here, these clear lights, these are reverse lights, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. The rubber seal around them are good. Whenever you see seals around your lights, you want to make sure those seals are not dry rotted or not damaged. We got a bumper back here, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present, it's on. I'm making sure my bus is not leaning to the left, not leaning to the right. That would indicate some kind of suspension issues. Not suspicious, but suspension issues. And guess what? I'm gonna make sure I see no leaks. Free of leaks, all right? No puddles. Now, that's the back of the bus. Now we about to lift this hood and go to the engine right here on Mr. B's Trucking Institute. Hi there, we're about to talk about this engine. Now, some people get intimidated by this engine, but you know what overcomes intimidation? Having you a system. That's it, having you a system. So I'm gonna start here to the left and I'm gonna work right across. So right here, we have the coolant reservoir. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. I see no leaks, and I'm gonna make sure my reservoir is at a proper level, because we have a little Billy Peak glass right there, and we can make sure it's at a proper level, okay? And now that I've checked my coolant reservoir, I'm gonna just look at all my hoses on this bus. I'm looking at all these hoses to make sure they're not dry rotted, they're not damaged. I see no leaks or anything like that. All my hoses are good. I see no leaks, I hear no leaks. Just checking all of my hoses, right? Okay, so we're gonna go right here to the radiator. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. It's not damaged. I got a fan shroud, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. There's some liquid in that radiator, so I'm gonna make sure I see no leaks, all right? And I got a fan back there. That fan blow and keep everything cool. Fan properly mounted, secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. And this is what's cool. If you look down there, you got that lower radiator hose, properly mounted, secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All the hardware is present on it. And it's a rubber seal, so make sure it's not dry rotted or damaged. And that lower radiator hose goes, guess what? Right into the water pump. Water pump is properly mounted, secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All right? That water pump, I see no leaks because there's water in it. All right, and it's belt driven, properly mounted, secured. And I'm gonna talk about that belt to make sure I have no more than 3/4 of an inch of play on that belt. You don't want that belt moving a lot. No more than 3/4 of an inch of play on that belt. That belt is not cut, damaged, or dry rotted. It's good on that water pump. All right. So now I'm gonna come up here to my generator, properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present on that generator. And guess what? It's wires on this thing, so I'm gonna make sure my wires are not discolored or damaged or missing. And that generator is belt driven. That belt is not cracked or damaged, don't have no missing chunks, anything, not dry rotted. And I make sure it has no more than 3/4 of an inch of play on that good old generator right there. That's some good stuff right there. Now, as we move on over this way, I have what you call here an air compressor. That air compressor is properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. And guess what? That air compressor, it is gear driven. And I hear no leaks. All right? And then right under that air compressor, we got a power steering pump right there. That power steering pump is properly mounted, secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present. I see no leaks. And guess what? That power steering pump, guess what? It's gear driven. It's very important that you say it's gear driven. All right. And then we have this is my oil. This is oil. This is where I check that oil. Okay. So I'll pull that stick out. All right. I'll hold it down at a 45-degree angle. I'll wipe it clean. I'll reinsert that oil stick and pull it out to make sure my oil is at a proper level. You got to check that oil. You don't have oil in this bus, it's going to be a bad day. It's like Mr. B with not having my water. I'm gonna break down. I gotta get a lot of water. That's how I got that weight off me. So this bus, you need that oil. All right. So as we come here, this is the AC. All right. This is the AC unit. It keeps it cool in the bus. All right. My AC compressor is properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. All hardware is present, and it's belt driven. All right. Make sure that belt is not cut, damaged. It's not dry rotted. It has no more than 3/4 of an inch of play on it, and we good on it. All right. And I think that'll be done. And sometimes it's good just to look things over after you go over your engine. You know, you just come to the level and say, okay, I talked about my reservoir, I talked about my hoses, talked about my radiator, fan shroud, fan. I come on over. I didn't forget I talked about my water pump. I talked about my generator and my power steering pump and my air compressor and oil and the AC compressor. And I talked about all my belts. And guess what? I'm gonna check all my wires to make sure all my wires are good. None are discolored, none are damaged, none are missing. And that's gonna complete this engine. All right. So it comes back to system, and I can't say this enough to students and people who want to get their CDL license. How do you get through this pre-trip test? It's a big mountain, but the thing is this: on your test day, you're gonna be nervous, and it's okay to be nervous, because one of the greatest basketball players alive, Michael Jordan, he was nervous every time he took a shot. But you know what overcame his anxiety? And my students hear me say this all the time: practice, practice, practice. He practiced so much that it became muscle memory. And when all the millions of folk around the world was watching him, he made that shot because he practiced and it overcame his anxiety. What you just saw me doing right here, I practice it all the time. I go over it again and again. So when it's showtime and that examiner is standing in front of you and you got to take that test, what's going to overcome your anxiety? Say it. Say it. Practice. That's what it's going to take to overcome that anxiety. That's the solution, because we don't find excuses right here on Mr. B's Trucking Institute. Now we're on the driver's side of this vehicle, all right? And I just thought about something. When I was on the other side, I didn't talk about the undercarriage of this bus. But it don't matter what side you talk about it on, as long as you talk about it, all right? So follow your system, whatever that system is. So on this side of the bus, I'm about to talk about my frame of the bus. The frame is under the bus, it's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. There's no holes in the frame, it's not damaged, all right? I'm gonna get under there and I'm gonna make sure I check my drive shaft, all right? Properly mounted secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. And I'm gonna check my universal joint to make sure it's properly mounted secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. There are no obstructions or debris within that universal joint, so it'll spin correctly, all right? And then I have exhaust system under this bus. Make sure the exhaust system is properly mounted secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. There's no running soot or damage. And what you'll do is you'll follow the exhaust all the way up here to the back of the bus, the exhaust, to make sure it's not cracked or it's not damaged. I get under there and make sure I see no running soot, no holes, properly mounted and secured, all right? So I did my undercarriage of the bus, the undercarriage of the bus, I'm encouraging you. But the undercarriage of the bus, I checked it on the driver's side, all right? So what else is unique under here? Let's see what's unique on this side. Oh, we got the steering components over here, all right? So I'm gonna check all my steering components, make sure my steering components are properly mounted secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. So if I could see my steering components, this is what I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check my steering box to make sure my steering box is properly mounted secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, all hardware is present, and there's liquid in it, so I'm gonna make sure I see no leaks. That steering box got hoses on it, so I'm gonna make sure those hoses are not damaged, they're not dry rotted, they have no cuts on them, and guess what? I'm gonna make sure I see no leaks, all right? As I come down, I got a pitman arm. That pitman arm is properly mounted secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, all hardware is present, all right? And then I have a council nut and a Carter pin on that pitman arm, properly mounted secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. I have a drag link. Drag link is properly mounted secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, all hardware is present. And then I have the lower and upper knuckles properly mounted secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, all the hardware is present, all right? Council nut, Carter pin, all that is present. And I have a tie rod down there. That tie rod is properly mounted secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, all hardware is present. So that's all of my steering linkage. The steering linkage, I gotta make sure it's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. Because when I'm steering this bus, it's important that all that steering linkage is there. Now, you need to come up with a system however you remember. I see it because I see my steering box, the hose, the pitman arm, the drag link, the upper and lower knuckles, I see the tie rod. But if you want to play around with that and create you an acronym or something so you won't forget things, maybe you should do that. Because here on this institution, we find solutions, not excuses, all right? So there is no excuse for you to fail a test, all right? If you're properly practicing, that you have your proper systems, all right? So now we're about to go inside and do our passenger items, because I'm done on this exterior. Woo! It was a lot, but guess what? I found a solution and not an excuse right here on Mr. B's Trucking Institute. Let go.